what have I gotten myself into? This is oh. And I loved it so much. I could cry. Am I going to be behind this entire video until I catch up? Duh. It can't be insta-love because this has been happening forever. Like, they spent all this time hating each other. Like, it can't be insta-love. But it also felt like, I don't know, Houdini, a magic trick? Like, where did this come from? You don't do nothing, I won't do nothing. But if you do something, know that I'm watching you. And I'm prepared, basically. Hello, friends. Welcome to a new vlog. I'm very excited for this one and also extremely nervous. I am going to be doing the 30 books in 30 days challenge. What am I thinking? What have I gotten myself into? This is oh. For this vlog, I will be trying to read 30 books in 30 days. And now you guys might be asking me, why the hell would you try to do this? And the answer is, so, truly, for me, there are two things that I would love to do more in my reading experience, and I think that I have allowed pressures of like sharing. So, I think for me personally, prior to sharing how much I read, before joining the book community, I just did my own damn thing and was so happy with it. I was just like la la la, frolicking through my field of like daisies and books. I was Belle out here just like singing, living my best life and loving books. That was just it. I mean, was I really singing? No, but I was in my own world is my point. I didn't care about what others thought of what I was reading. I didn't care about literally anything but the book I was reading, having a blast. I didn't care about how many books I read. I didn't care about what types of books I read. I didn't care about nothing, y'all. I was just reading. And that was so much fun. And I do believe that in the greatness, I guess, like how big booktube is and how amazing like this community is, I get so excited by other people's excitement that I've allowed their most anticipated releases, their favorite books, their favorite genres impact what I am reading, which is good and dandy. Like, that's really cool because it has opened me up to a bunch of different genres and has introduced me to a lot of books that I wouldn't have otherwise read. However, I have allowed a lot of my favorite reads to fall by the wayside and have allowed them to kind of go unread. One genre in particular that I love reading, or not one, because there's actually quite a few genres that I love reading and just have not been doing, is reading poetry. I have not read a lot of poetry, or at least not as much as I would like to read, and I also have not been reading as many graphic novels, comic books, or mangas as I would like to read. In fact, out of all of it, I think it is the graphic novels, mangas, and comic books that makes me like the most upset that I haven't been reading them, because I do have quite an extensive collection of them, and I just haven't been reading them, like, at all. I have read poetry every now and then this year, but I have not been reading graphic novels, mangas, comic books, none of it. And it's so frustrating because I'll look at my collection of them and be like, oh, I really want to get to that story. But then I'll tell myself that I can't because I need to read this fantasy series, or I need to read this big book, or I need to read this new release. And I've just let those stories that I was anticipating kind of just fall away. Simply because when I see that, I feel like I'm opposite of like so many people, because I feel like this is the opposite problem that a lot of people have when they do like comic books. But I feel like when I see how short it is, when I see like a book like Snot Girl, I'll be like, oh, it's so small, I can read this at any point in time. I could, like, it's just gonna take me a little bit of time. I should read Fire instead. I should read a big like fantasy book or a popular book. I should read a new release instead, because that's what people are most, like, those are what people are excited about. People have been raving about these books. I should read that big book first. When I finish that big book, this could be my reward. And it's weird because once I finish those big books, I never then am thinking, okay, I finished that book, now it's time to go to the manga or graphic novel that I've been looking at, or the comic book I've been looking at. It's always, okay, let me get into the next big book. And I really have stunted myself by being so obsessed with how big books are that I'm not reading the shorter form stories that I enjoy. Like, I love, like, my favorite thing about manga, okay, I keep grouping these three things together, but it's because I love them for very similar reasons. My favorite things about mangas, graphic novels, and comic books is the artistry that accompanies it, and how the art also really helps to tell the story. It is just so great, and it is nothing, and honestly it's very relaxing to me. I feel like I could put like less effort and get twice as much as the story, because it's just like right here it really feels like I'm like watching TV, but the story is so much better because for some reason, like, the commitment's smaller. That's it. It's like I'm watching a TV show or a movie, but the commitment to it is smaller and more engaging for me. And yet, I just have not let myself do it. And so that is what this challenge is for. Yes, it is 30 books in 30 days, with the goal of reading more comic books, mangas, graphic novels, and poetry. I also want to read more audiobooks because, again, I don't allow myself to. I feel like there's often times where I'm like, okay, all I want to do is read a book, but also I really need to clean my room. I really need to clean other rooms in my home and try to organize my life a bit more. And I can't physically read a book while I do all of that stuff. And I feel like there's oftentimes, like, not even for productivity's sake, but simply because I want to read stories. I want to be invested in a story at the time, and I just physically can't read it. So I get stunted and like I miss the story, and then just like neglect all my responsibilities so that I can read that story. Or I just will sit in a void and like stare at a wall for a bit because I'm like, which one do I choose? Who needs to make choices? Also, if that was not the most Libra sentence I ever made, instead of making a choice, I stare at a wall. What? God, I really need to work on that. That is a problem. But alright. So I do want to, for the purposes of this 30 books in 30 days challenge, I really want to be focusing on shorter story forms. Again, mangas, graphic novels, comic books, poetry, and I also do want to focus on reading more audiobooks. That literally could be anything. So hopefully I succeed. Hopefully I get those 30 books in 30 days. I have faith in myself. I mean, this is also May 1st, so I know what I've done in April. And so yeah, it's time for y'all to see what I did in April. And here we go. Alright, y'all. Hello. Hi. It is, what day is it? It's just so late at night and I'm over it. What day is it? It is April 5th. It is April 5th. I am doing the 30 books read in 30 days challenge. And it's day 5 and I have not updated this vlog. That's fine. That's fine. I've read 3 books. So I've completed 3 books. Fret Not Friends. I just started a new read, but I'm also going to start, I'm going to finish a graphic novel before I go to bed, because I really need those, I just want those cozy vibes. Actually, no I'm not. I'm going to read more of the book that I started today and then just knock out, because I'm very, very tired and I really want to enjoy all of these books. Anyways, point is, let's talk about the books I have completed. Don't mind me, I'm just trying to remember the order I read them in. Alright, so first up we have Her Villains by Jade Presley. This has been marketed as basically Marvel smut. As the dedication says, for Marvel fans that needed a bit more smut. And yeah, I did not rate this book. And that was for a reason, because so it's not that I absolutely hated the book. It was just that they try to do this thing with the plot and I hated every minute of it. Also, I don't like it when like actual siblings are in a like polyamorous relationship with a together. Does that make sense? So basically it is this girl and it is the 4 Marvel guys, and I must admit I had fun at first, but it was a guy. So Captain America's name was Steel. Iron Man's name was, so Tony Stark's name was Talon, I think. Thor's name was Tor. Didn't even try with that one. And then Loki's name was Luke. Locke. I think it was Locke. And yeah, let's start there. So I was fine at first because I was like, oh, this is like, I'm not taking it seriously. It's like whatever. Until there was a scene towards the end in which Talon, so Iron Man's character, literally states, "These guys are my blood." And I said, wait a minute. Brother wasn't a nickname? Like, you know how guys would be like, that's my brother, or something, like, he's like a brother to me. He's my brother, and they're not blood related. That's what I had thought it was this whole time. It is not. It is not. They're actual brothers, and that made me so uncomfortable. I don't like that. I don't like that. All of a sudden, it just became gross. Because, oh, they were in sexual situations at the same time. I don't like that. Like, even if they don't interact with each other within the situation, I don't like that. And maybe it's just because, like, oh no, oh, gross. No, that's, no, I didn't like that. I did not like that. And everything fell apart after then. After then, we, like, picked up on, like, a plot line, and I was like, why are we doing this? What's going on now? And then, yeah, so, it's funny because at first I was really enjoying my time. I was like, this is great. Just vibes. Appreciate it. Appreciate a person that wrote a book for the Marvel fan that just needed a bit more smut. Appreciated it. And then, like I said, I didn't like that they were actually blood brothers. Like, blood related. I hated that. And then, like I said, like, I don't understand. Okay. So I will say, I've learned that I like it when authors know what they can handle, basically. If you're going to be porn no plot, thank you. Be porn no plot. I appreciate it. You know what you want to do. If you're going to be smut, this I would just consider smut. It has, like, smutty scenes, but there is a plot that goes along with it. Do that. But don't do that if you're supposed to be porn no plot. Don't try to put a plot if you're an author that just knows the porn part. There's nothing wrong with porn no plot. So if you don't know how to do a plot, like, if you don't know, I don't know, this story just didn't make sense to me, and I feel like the plot really messed with me. It, like, completely killed my interest. The more they try to explain things, the less I cared about the world. Like, I was just like, I don't like it. Like, I was like, what are we doing here? I thought we understood each other, and clearly we didn't. So, yeah, I didn't rate that one. If I did, it would have been like a 2-star, and that's unfortunate because for the majority of it, again, I was okay. I was fine. I was having a blast. It was just then realizing that they were blood brothers that had me feeling about it, and then the plot picked up literally like right after that, and I was like, oh, this is not good. So yeah. Now next up, completely other side of the spectrum, I read The Tea Dragon Society, and I loved it so much. I could cry. This is the coziest graphic novel I have ever read. Coziest book, coziest, just the vibes, immaculate. I want a tea dragon more than I want air in my lungs. Like, oh my god, this book was just so comfy cozy. I loved it with my whole heart, soul, and being. The storyline, beautiful. Loved it. The Tea Dragon Society follows Greta, and Greta is the cutest little being to ever walk along. But Greta finds herself in the Tea Dragon Society's like shop, and when she finds her way along this shop, she finds like 3 amazing other characters, and just her journey with them and like building their relationship, all the things she learns about the Tea Dragon Society and like what the world consists of and everything is just so very cute. She is the cutest character ever. The characters she interacts with are the cutest characters ever. One of the characters has like memory loss, and the way that story is like navigated is so heartwarming. It had me like, oh my goodness. And it's not that many pages at all, but it just captured me. I love these stories so much. I absolutely could see this being adapted into like a cartoon like Steven Universe, or even a video game if they had a Tea Dragon Society video game. Coziest thing ever. Like, literally, this was the coziest thing, the coziest, I don't even know, like, just the coziest thing I've ever consumed ever in any sort of medium. So, like, if this was, like, turned into a video game somehow, and then we got little tea dragons, that would satisfy my desire for a tea dragon. Just get me a video game. I love the book so much that I actually bought the next 2 in the series, and I am literally like this close to buying the card game. I love this book so much with my whole heart. I look at, like, literally the next two are right here. I look at them and they bring me so much happiness and joy. They're so cute. And I love Katie O'Neill's art style. I think that that really contributes to just how cozy the books feel. Love it. Just love it. Anyways, that one got 5 stars. I did rate that one. It was 5 stars. It was immaculate. Like, so amazing. I loved it so much. If you don't do anything with this video, and I know this is only the second book I talk about, but if you don't do nothing else with what I'm doing with this video, get this dang books. I haven't read the other 2 yet, but I know I'm gonna love it. Love them. So, like, get these books. Get them. Read the Tea Dragon Society. Please. It is... You will not regret it. It is the most heartwarming story of, like, found family and friendships, and it's just so comfy cozy. Like, so cozy. Next up, again, complete opposite of that, but more on the, like, her villain side of things. Not really. Just smut. I read Heat Haven, and this is completely due to Mina Reeds and Aaron from Booked and Busy. They both posted videos that were very close to each other, that in which they discussed this book and how much they loved it. And you know what? They've never steered me wrong. Like, they like so if you don't know what Heat Haven is about, I'm not the one to tell you. But it's basically it takes place in the Omega verse, and again, if you don't know what that is, I'm not the one to explain it to you, because I don't know either. Kind of. Basically, what happens in the Omegaverse is that there are alphas, betas, and omegas. An alpha is like, you know what an alpha is. Unfortunately, like, alpha male is like a thing that's trending right now. So, you know what an alpha is. And then betas are basically like normal humans, and then omegas are... well, like, more like submissive individuals, but still, like I said, betas are like normal humans. There's something special about alphas and omegas beyond, like, omegas aren't necessarily weaker, they just need more at times. And one instance in which that occurs is during heat, in which an omega needs an alpha to help them through their heat, or else it's, like, super painful. And so there is this place called Heat Haven to help omegas that aren't, like, bound to an alpha, to safely find an alpha to help them get through their heat. Or more than likely more than one alpha, because apparently heats are extremely extreme. So in this novel we have Emily and Griffin. Emily is the omega, Griffin is the alpha. And they end up getting stuck in an elevator together, and during their time in the elevator, Emily decides that she wants Griffin to be a part of her heat. And I really see, this was a book that had, like, a plot ingrained with it, ingrained with the stunt, and I liked it. I thought that, granted, it takes place in, like, our world, but I feel like the descriptions of Boston and helping to explain for me the Omegaverse, I felt like it was very capturing. I wasn't expecting to just be, like, completely like, to devour the book like I did, but I found it just interesting. And okay, so it was like one of those books that I was reading and, like, lost track of time and, like, my physical being. Like, I forgot where I was. I just completely got lost in the book, and I was not expecting that in the book. I was just going to read it and be like, whatever, counted it, because it is like a novella. So I was like, whatever. But I actually was really entranced by the world, and, like, would have moments where I would come to and be like, oh, yeah, I'm not in Boston. so yeah, I really appreciated this book in that. I also did not rate this one only because I don't want to. I don't feel like you have to rate every book, and I promise I'm gonna stop trying to explain why I don't rate books, but I think giving this book like a 5 stars is weird because it doesn't compare to other books that I read, but honestly, it hit it right out the ballpark. So yeah, it was a really great book for me. Or novella, I guess. It was a really great novella for me. Yeah. I'm not gonna say I recommend it. You figure out if you want to read that. Honestly, I don't know. But yeah, I really enjoyed that book. It was also another one that had a great dedication page in which it stated, what did it say? Because I took a picture. I was like, yep. It says, I remember, to anyone who has had their battery operated boyfriend die at the most inopportune moment. That had me dead. That's what I'm talking about. I like, the author's funny and I love it. I just the author's humor really shined through. I liked how their relationship progressed. I liked how their relationship expanded, and I'm not really gonna go into that because I feel like that's a spoiler. But yeah, like I said, Omegas need alphas to help them through their heat, and most of the time it is more than one alpha. So we got to meet other alphas outside of Griffin who had different personalities and different interests, and how they helped Emily through her heat, and it was just, yeah, like I said, I thought that the world was very interesting. I loved how the intricacies of how Heat Haven was run as well, and some of the like speed bumps that occurred along the road and occurred as I read this book, and that had to do with like the management of Heat Haven. I loved how that progressed and everything, and I thought it was a really good book. Now I am currently reading It's Okay. Nope, that's not what it's called. I'm obsessed with the K-drama It's Okay Not to Be Okay. So now every time I talk about the book this close to okay, I say it's okay not to be okay. Not those words, those sentences are not the same. Anyways, I'm currently reading This Close to Okay by Lisa Cross Smith. I am like 50 or so pages, maybe 60 pages in it. I've gotten through part 1. I will update you guys with like my rating once I finish the book, but I'm really enjoying it so far. It is definitely, actually I probably won't update you guys in this vlog. I'll probably update you guys in the Magical Readathon vlog. But this book is definitely not what I expected it to be, but I'm enjoying my time with it. So I will update you all once I finish that book, and probably one other, if not more than one other. Well, that is all my updates for you all. I am very excited to get this makeup off my face and get into bed. So, good night, y'all. I will talk to you when it's update time. Alright guys, so today is actually the 12th. Yes, today is April 12th and I have completed 9 books officially. So this Close to Okay was my 9th book, which means that I am 3 books behind. So the last time we spoke, I think I had only read 3 books. The last one was Heat Haven. So after completing Heat Haven, I listened to the audiobook for A Perilous Undertaking, right? Yes, to A Perilous Undertaking, which is the second book in Deanna Ray Warren's Veronica Speedwell series. This one I gave 4 stars, 3.5. This one I gave 3.5 stars. I would say for me personally, I just could not connect to this mystery. I love Veronica and Stoker. They get 5 stars for me, but I just could not connect to this mystery. I think it's going to take me a little bit to adjust to the mystery not surrounding Veronica or Stoker. I don't think that this is going to be something. I think we are going to keep getting glimpses of their stories throughout the series, but I think the main mystery is going to start being other things. I don't know. This is only the second book, and like I said, the mystery was not surrounding Veronica and or Stoker, so I just wasn't as connected to the story, unfortunately, or not the story, but I wasn't as connected to the mystery, unfortunately, which is why I ultimately gave it a 3.5 stars. I still absolutely love Veronica and Stoker's chemistry. I think it is so well done. I find Veronica hilarious. Life is great, and also the fact that Veronica is the one that is more like sexually liberated, whereas Stoker is a far more repressed in that area. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. I love how shy Stoker gets. Like every time they say he's blushing, I giggle because like how you gonna have sleeves of tattoos, wear an eye patch, and then blush when someone talks of, like when Veronica talks about her sexual endeavors. Like I love it. I love it. I love it. I think that they complement each other very well. The next book that I read, y'all know I loved the Tea Dragon Society, so of course I read all the books that I can on the Tea Dragon Society. So I read the Tea Dragon Festival and the Tea Dragon Tapestry, and oh my god, wait, I got a Tea Dragon. Oh, this series makes me absolutely so happy. I got a mountain chamomile. Look at the little wings and the face. Just look at the face. Reading what the mountain chamomile dragon's personality type is, it's basically me as a dragon. So of course I had to get it. These books are just so comfy cozy. They're coziness in a book and a graphic novel. I love Kay O'Neill's artistry and their drawing style, the stories they tell. The second book utilizes sign language and depicts sign language in a way, and I think that was super cool to read, and just was like an extra step of inclusion that was added to the story that also helped to demonstrate the like coziness of it all. It's just so great. The second book actually takes place in I'm just remembering things and it makes me so happy. Okay, so the second book actually takes place before the first book takes place, and it's just so cute to see like characters that were older in the first book be younger and like at the very beginning of the relationship. And there was like an actual dragon, so there are various dragon species, and there was a dragon that was like a real dragon, because you can't tell me my tea dragon's not a real dragon, but there was like a real dragon in the second book, and they come back up in the third book, and it was just so cute. I love it so much. I know for a fact I'm going to keep coming back to these stories. Like I want to read them again right now. Just so amazing. I love it so much. I definitely recommend to literally everyone. If you're looking for something cozy, if you're looking for something to boost your spirits, if you're looking for something warm, read the Tea Dragon Society. It is just the greatest thing ever. Like, tea is a comfort drink, and then these graphic novels are like comfort graphic novels for me. They're just so cute, and I want everything that has to do with this world. Clearly, I got my little tea dragon. I do want the other tea dragons, but most of all, I want the card game so bad. I'm always just this close to getting the card game. I think I told you guys the last update about that. But moving on, because I could literally go on and on about this series forever. But moving on, next I finished Bunny by Mona Awad. This I gave 2.5 stars. Unfortunately, ultimately for me, there was nothing that I absolutely hated about the book. In fact, I loved the atmosphere of this story so very much, but there was just something that was not quite connecting for me personally. And in addition, I actually figured out the plot twist like literally within the first 40 pages. I'm not even joking. The main character had mentioned something about this like environment she was in, and then I was like, that's interesting. It sounds like insert plot twist here. And that ended up being the plot twist. And yeah. So that just made things a little bit underwhelming for me personally. Honestly, I would say I am willing to actually give this book another shot. I think that I just am not in the right headspace for the book. Maybe that's why I wasn't connecting with it. I don't know. But like I said, I really, really love the atmosphere of this book. So I'm going to go ahead and say it's user error. And maybe one day I will want to go back and read it. Like there were definitely some like Get Out vibes for me that I like picked up on while reading the book, and I don't know if that was intentional, but again, like literally it just felt like parallels to the movie, if I'm being completely honest. Like there was even like a stag scene that I was like, this is Get Out. But I mean then it turned into its own thing. But anyways, like I said, I gave it 2.5 stars. Maybe one day I will reread it, and if I do, then I feel like if I'm in the right headspace, it might actually boost its rating. Again, there's just something I'm not quite connecting to with this story, in addition to the fact that I found out the plot twist very early on, so it just seemed quite underwhelming to have gone through this great atmosphere, to have gone through feeling so many things, to then finding out that like it all accumulated to what I saw coming in like 40 pages. So that's unfortunate. The next two books I actually won't be going into detail about because I have already discussed them in another vlog, which I will have linked below, I guess, and in the cards. This is me being scared because I know that editing Kalia is probably going to be too tired to do these things, but at some point I will definitely have the said vlog in the cards and down below. And those two books are We Are Never Meeting in Real Life by Samantha Irby and This Close to Okay by Lisa Crossmith, right? Woo, got it right. We Are Never Meeting in Real Life is a collection of essays by Samantha Irby. And I guess I'm not going to go too deep into it, but basically the author is just talking about various instances in their life. And in these essays, she discusses life lessons that she has learned, some things that might have been tough, but how she has dealt with humor. And it was just really, it was quite something. It was quite something. Now, in This Close to Okay, we are dealing with a therapist who one day while going home finds a man on a bridge seemingly ready to unalive himself, and so she ends up spending the weekend with him, trying to convince him to continue to live once they decide to part ways at the end of this weekend. So I actually liked both of the books. For We Are Never Meeting in Real Life, I gave that 3 stars, and for This Close to Okay, I gave it 4 stars. If you are interested in knowing a bit more about my thoughts, again, I will have that vlog in the cards and link down below. And yeah. So, like I said, this is the 12th day. I have read 9 books. I'm going to clearly read more. I'm 3 books behind. if math is mathing correctly. I'm going to probably pick up a graphic novel tonight. Okay, y'all, hello. I have finished some books. I am still behind. Am I going to be behind this entire video until I catch up? Duh. Am I going to be behind this whole video until the final day? We shall see. At this point, I don't know. But, okay, so I have finished, how many? The last time I talked to y'all, I have finished this close to okay, I believe. Which means I have read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books since then. So I'm just going to keep going in order as I have been. So next up, I finished Letters to a Dead Girl, which is a poetry collection by Kat Savage. And I gave this one star. I'm not a fan. So hear me out. Were all the poems bad? No. They were just like okay. The best part of this collection of poems was the dedication page, which was something along the lines of dedicated to anyone who is the secondary character in someone else's story, or like who is a side character in someone else's story, which I thought was very beautiful. Like, that is so beautifully said. Like 60% of these poems were about the main character cheating. She was either cheating on someone or was somebody's mistress, which is all fine. And yes, granted, that is definitely someone who would play the side character in someone else's story. But why 60% of the poems? Like, I will give you that. Like, some of those poems I actually thought were well crafted and I actually thought were well written. But why did all of them, honestly, 60% is on the lower end. Like, most of the poems were about this person cheating, or like cheating with someone, like being someone's mistress, or cheating on someone. And then like 2 of them were about them being cheated on, which after like 8 poems of you cheating on someone else, you kind of deserve it, sis. But yeah, it was just odd. And I should mention, I don't like cheating in books. I don't like cheating in general. So like when I read it, it's very difficult for me to like actually like a book that has cheating in it, or like when the main character cheats, unless the author or the writer does it really well and like is like their writing is done very well. For example, like I said, there was a good 1 or 2 poems that had to do with the person cheating that I actually thought were well done. Like there was actually I felt like they were actually well crafted. However, those 1 or 2 poems did not measure up to the other 8 or however many they were, because there weren't that many poems in general. So the fact that there was barely any poems, and then like the poems that you then out of those very few poems that you decided to put in this collection, most of them they're cheating on somebody in, and it just. And again, it also read just very young, which is like, okay, so you're cheating on people when you were younger. Are these even real relationships? Is this like your high school boyfriend? Which still, it counts as cheating, but like what I'm saying is like, okay, how serious is this? And one of them had to do with like a marriage that was failing, but they cheated on their like significant other in a marriage scenario, which again was just weird. So like, granted, I agree that a mistress or somebody who is cheating on someone would be the side character in someone's story. Like, if you're cheating on someone, then you're like the bad guy of their story. And if you're someone's mistress, then like you are like the side character of that person's like main love story, kind of. So it makes sense for that to be a part of the, like, that does draw into the dedication. I just don't understand why it had to be most of the poems. Like, literally, again, 60% was being easy on it. It was like 80% of the poems. And it, like, at what point do we say, okay, we get it? Because it was just repetitive. Like, it was repetitive. Only one or two of those poems were actually well written. And the rest of them was just like, goodness gracious, can you get it together? Like, why are you in all these relationships you don't want to be in? Which one might argue that it's a point of the story, but like, no, this is just not what I thought I was getting myself into. And then it wasn't well written, so no. Next up, I have volume 1 of Full Metal Alchemist, the like deluxe editions or whatever those editions are called. This I actually really enjoyed. I thought this was super cute and just so adorable. I love the story. I like these characters. They seem very fun, and I believe that this is an anime. So reading the manga, I was like, this is actually really funny and cool, and I like these characters to want to then watch the anime. So we shall see if I do end up watching it, but like so far in this story, I actually really like it, and I can't wait to pick up the second volume. Literally think these two characters are just so, like, I find the main character so funny. I like his personality because he kind of seems like a hothead, but then he also just really loves his younger brother. I think that this is just a very cute dynamic. Full Metal Alchemist, definitely love. Full Metal Alchemist follows two brothers. One of them is the Full Metal Alchemist, and that is because in an alchemy experiment he lost both his leg and his arm, and his brother lost his physical body, and his soul was then put into like a knight outfit. I don't know how to explain that. Like, I don't know, a suit of armor, I guess. So one brother is missing an arm and a leg, and has replaced it with a metal arm and a metal leg. And then another brother has lost his physical body, and his soul is in a metal suit of armor like knights use. And they are just alchemists that wander around. It is only volume 1, so they're just on this one journey and end up having different stories along this journey that were just very fun to read. And I really liked the very beginning of this brother relationship, and also the story of how they ended up having this accident and the alchemy accident that occurred that had them in the state that they're in right now. Really spoke to my really captured me. So I definitely want to continue on with this story. I'm definitely having a fun time with that, and would love to continue the series for that one. Next up, I read Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark. This one was like, okay, I did enjoy my time with this one. I thought that the smut scenes are like very well done. I think, again, it was just really surprising of what it was. It's just like, it's an okay story. Like, it's cool. This is the first like romance novel, or like, yeah, romance novels that's like smutty book where the love happened so like, oh, you had to work to get to the like, you had to work to get to love, and you know, they had sex way before that, but it was I haven't seen that done before. Alright, maybe I have, and it just didn't leave an impression on me. But this was like true enemies to lovers, but like enemies, like they hate each other, but they're still doing the deed. It's an arranged marriage / enemies to lovers, and very much enemies for like a good portion of the books, or maybe like enemies at the beginning and then just like tolerating each other because they're married and they have to. But while they're like tolerating each other and still getting on each other's nerves, they're still like having sex or whatever, which I haven't seen that done before. Like, I don't think I have. I'm trying to think, and I can't think of any. Maybe something I read on Wattpad back in the day, probably, but I just haven't seen that done before. And I thought that was actually a really interesting dynamic that was added into this story, of like the author being willing to have the characters not like each other, but still having sex. Like, I thought that was really interesting. However, to do that, and then like when it finally is, like, y'all know this is a romance, so they do love each other, but when it finally is like, oh, I love him, it felt so Like, it can't be insta-love because this has been happening forever. Like, they spent all this time hating each other. Like, it can't be insta-love. But it also felt like, I don't know, Houdini, a magic trick? Like, where did this come from? Like, you have been talking about this man, well, not the same way, but you have basically been talking about this man the same way this whole book, and now we're at love. Like, okay, sure. I mean, if you're happy, I'm happy. Like, not gonna yuck your yum. Go off, sis. So Brutal Prince is about the youngest child and the daughter of the Italian mob bosses. Like, the Italian mob boss's daughter ends up getting into this situation that puts a target on their backs from the Russian mob. And so to get them out of this situation, and so that no more people have to die, they create an alliance. And the only way the alliance is sound is if it is an arranged marriage. And so they are put in an arranged marriage situation. They do not like each other. There is a lot of times where they are like tit for tat, going back and forth with one another, and just do not get along. But somehow, some way, they make a marriage work. And yeah, it's just their story of how that goes about. And I feel like this whole story is just like spoiler after spoiler. Like, literally, once you get past the part where they have to marry each other and the fact that they don't like each other, the rest of it all just feels like a spoiler. Just enjoy your time with these books. Next, I read volume 1 of Paper Girls, and I thought that this was okay. This is another story that I felt was just like okay. It wasn't too extreme or too much. Honestly, when it comes, I think volume 2 might be helpful because I do have volume 2, so it might help me to understand a bit more of this like alien world that has been introduced into the story. Now, Paper Girls is about paper girls, like, you know, paper boys, paper girls. God damn it. So what are they called? But like messenger people, I don't know. Newspapers, you know, they back in the day, I don't think that this happens anymore, and if there is, it's probably in like small towns, so I wouldn't know. Haven't lived in a small town since I left high school, so you know how like small towns, there are paper boys and girls, so little younger people young people who go on this paper route and like throw the newspaper onto people's lawns. That's how the newspaper was delivered. This also is a comic book that takes place in the 80s, I believe. Yeah, it's the 80s. There is this group of girls who are delivering papers, and they decide to team up for like safety reasons because guys are dicks and make their jobs very difficult. So they decide to team up and like go on their routes together. And then all of a sudden there is, holy shit, I forgot I was listening to Sprint. Oh, Jesus. Oh my goodness. Oh Lord. I was about to scream. I was literally seconds from screaming. Okay. So one night, and I believe this is Halloween night, strange happenings occur, and it turns out that there are aliens of sorts in the town, and they are killing people, or they're just odd happenings happening. They're just odd occurrences happening. So there are people that are dead, seemingly. There are like these people, there are people that seem to be from the future appearing to help them, but maybe they're also evil. It is just a lot of like, it is sci-fi to the max. Like I said, like aliens, people coming back from the future. A lot is going on in this book. So they talk about how people are just gone. Not necessarily dead, but like there's no account of them. They're just gone. No one really knows where they are. And there are some like mentions of like biblical undertones, but no one really knows. So I'm thinking maybe that's touched on in volume 2. I don't know. But there are a lot of questions that are opened up in volume 1, and it just seemed like a lot going on, but was still very enjoyable. So I gave it 3 stars. Now, the last book that I read, and I actually finished this morning, was Time as a Mother. So good. This is a collection of poetry by Ocean Vuong. I gave this 4 stars just because, like, it's just so beautiful. Ocean Vuong as a writer, I'm just like, okay, like you're writing in the same language that I know. And I love this about poets. Yes. I love this about poets. They know the same English that I know. But they use words so beautifully to describe some of the most hurt, like just the most sad, devastating things, and yet the language they choose to use to describe it is just so beautiful. And Ocean Vuong is a perfect example of this. Just like many of these poems were actually quite sad, but the language he used in describing these scenes and describing these feelings and emotions were so beautiful. This, of course, is his first collection of poems that he's written since his mother's passing, or since his mother passed away. And they're just so beautiful. He touches on, like, there are some poems about while she was in chemo. There is one poem that is literally just like a list of things that it is just a list of things she bought prior to her passing. So it was like the final Amazon receipts for a nail shop artist or a nail shop worker. And it was like, there was a lot of stuff like nail supplies for working in a nail shop, but then there was a lot of like pain medication, and oh my god, it started talking about like hospital socks and stuff, and I was just like, this is so beautiful. And it is literally a list of like what she bought from Amazon. It's just such beautiful poems, so many of them. There was another one that is told in like a reverse timeline, kind of like when your life flashes before your eyes before a like near death experience. There, like, that is one of the poems, and that was absolutely beautiful. I think this was just such a beautiful collection, and I'm actually quite disappointed at myself because this is his most recently published book, but I haven't read any of the other ones, so I definitely need to read those and kind of backtrack a little bit. But this collection of poems was absolutely beautiful, and of course I read it because this is his first collection of poems to be published since his mom passed away. And of course, you all know, like, my grandmother has recently passed, so that's really why I was interested, just like the undernotes and just instances of grief, trying to, like, I like to see how other people deal with their grief, so I wanted to see how he chose to discuss his grief, how it displays itself in his everyday life. And I think, yeah, he just did a very beautiful job to describe something so sad and so heart-wrenching and just overwhelming and just a lot, something like grief, and make it beautiful based on the words you're using. Like, that's the genius that I think of. Like, that's genius to me, because I genuinely cannot, like, how is that even possible? But yeah, definitely recommend. Alright, hello y'all. So it is the 23rd now, and I have officially completed 18 books, which means that I am 5 books behind. If I still want to succeed in this challenge, I could read 2 books every day after today, and I'll be back on track by the 28th, which has me very nervous because that only gives me 2 days of like filler time. So your girl is nervous. Let's see if I can still do it though. Let's talk about the 4 books that I have read since I last saw you guys, because I believe the last update I was talking about Time as a Mother by Ocean Vuong. Next, after I finished Time as a Mother, I finished Paper Girls Volume 2, and I really enjoyed this volume. I actually enjoyed this volume more than Volume 1, and it's not even necessarily because I said after I finished Volume 1 that I was hoping that Volume 2 would clear up some confusion and I would finally understand what's going on, because Volume 1 was a lot of confusion. A lot of things were being introduced but not so much explained, and it was just a lot of confusion. And so I was really hoping that Volume 2 would like explain some of that confusion, and it explained some of it, not all of it, and then also introduced more questions. But I actually really I liked it more so in this part of the story because this story just had gems. Not gonna go too deeply into spoilers, but I will say like the two books do deal with some form of like time travel. And so, there's a lot of like self reflection occurring in that. So, like, if you can just think of time travel, why would self reflection happen? If you can figure that out, then that's great. But there was just a moment where I was just like, wow, this is such a good moment for me to realize that, like, where I'm at in life, whatever I think about myself now, like, some of the sad things or, like, negative things that I think about myself, like, my younger self would be proud of the woman that I am. Like, my younger self would probably think I was so cool, but I'm so stuck on, like, all my, like, downfall or, like, pitfalls or, like, insecurity or things that I don't like about myself that I don't even realize the things that are great about myself, or even the fact that maybe the things that I think that aren't great about myself actually are beautiful and actually are great simply because they make me the woman that I am. And like, even if my younger self did see these traits that I would think of myself as being like negative, maybe she would think that that's really cool. Maybe she would think that it's cool that, like, yeah, just love that. Yeah, there was just, like, a lot of cute moments like that where I was like, this is just so cute. And I really love what they've done with this story because, again, it's a lot of confusion. I'm still very confused on whether or not aliens are involved, but at least I can say that, like, for a fact, time travel is a part of this series. So that's really cool. And I'm also really enjoying the relationship and the like alliance these girls are forming in the story. So I definitely want to get to volume 3. I ended up giving Paper Girls volume 2 4 stars. JK, I gave it 4.5 stars. It was so cute. I really, really loved it. The next 3 books that I'm going to talk about, I've actually already discussed in another vlog. So instead of going into detail about those books, I'm just going to link that vlog down below and up in the cards. Those 3 books are The Stolen Heir by Sophie Lark, which I gave 2.5 stars. And after I finished The Stolen Heir, I finished 19 by Anko. I gave that one 4 stars. I did really enjoy this like short story collection told in manhwa form. I thought that story was done very well. The next book that I read and finished is Air Fire by Sarah J. Maas. I gave this one 3 stars. And yeah, it was just a very average read for me, so I gave it a very average rating. Coco, what are you slowing down for? Hi, Mama. Keep going. Just going for a stroll. Just strolling today. I'm trying to lead her to go faster. Hi, Mama. Hi. Yeah, those are your doggy bags. Come on. I hate this setup because first of all, it looks like there's nothing. Like, I don't know. It just looks weird. But I just need to update this. It is the 28th now. And I am still way behind. I think the last time I updated you guys, I had just finished Air Fire. I have finished 3 books since then. It is getting very hard to force myself to read when I don't want to read. I think I knew this was going to happen for this challenge. I mean, it's kind of a given that at some point I would be feeling burnout. But that's exactly what I'm doing. Again, I knew it would. It's fine. So anyway, let's talk about those 3 books so that I can just like go hard and try and finish. How many more books do I have to read? Today's the 28th. I have so much reading to do. Point is, let's get into it. So the book that I read after Air Fire was Sex Criminals Volume 1. This book was just okay. I find the premise very interesting. Like, the whole premise of Sex Criminals is that two people find out that when they have sex and when they orgasm, then time stops and they decide to rob banks with their superpower. That is what really had me intrigued about this book. There was not enough robbing banks in this comic book. Literally, I don't think they robbed a single bank. So it literally opens up with them trying to get out of a situation. Like, they had robbed a bank and then they were trying to escape. So, you know, they were doing what they needed to do so that time would stop. It opens up with that. So I was like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I was looking for. This is exactly what was going to go on. And then come to find out that that first scene was also how it was going to end, but it was the very first bank that they tried to rob. And it, like, what? So yeah, I didn't actually get to see any bank robberies, unfortunately. They did other crimes, I guess, kind of, but like, not robbing a bank, that would have been cool. And then yeah, I found the characters quite interesting. It's not like this is a romance, so it's not necessarily like I'm supposed to love the guy, but honestly, I felt like the female protagonist, like the female character, I found her story more interesting. Basically, well, I don't want to tell you why she is robbing a bank, but it's like they're not bad people. Like, they're not bad guys. Like, they're breaking the law, but it's for a good cause, or at least on her side it is. Now the guy, again, it's not like I don't like him. It's just that I'm like indifferent to him. If anything, I just feel like she's carrying the story. I find her story and reasoning a lot more interesting. And honestly, he shows behaviors that, like, if I were to deal with this from a person in real life, I would be concerned and would probably, like, I would be watching out for them. And, like, not watching out for them like I'm protecting you, but, like, I got my eye open. Okay. You don't do nothing, I won't do nothing. But if you do something, know that I'm watching you. And I'm prepared, basically. So yeah, I didn't rate this book. I don't find it necessary to rate this book, especially since it's the first volume and I do have the second volume. So I at least want to give it one more chance with that second volume. Thing is, after reading that first volume, I'm not too interested in going straight into the second one. It kind of was just it was kind of blah and okay, but I do want to give the second volume another shot. Or give the second volume a shot before I completely write off the comic book series. I just like the idea of people being able to stop time when they have sex. Like, first of all, that's such an interesting superpower to have, and I found that was very intriguing. Like, it's not like you see that superpower. It's not like when people ask, what superpower do you want? People are like, I want to stop time when I have sex. Like, I felt like that was just very interesting. But it just fell short for me, unfortunately. So yeah, I'll give it another shot, see what the second volume has in store for me. There was like something that was introduced that I found quite interesting that I feel like makes it relate a bit more to the title of the series, which is like sex criminal. So like, I can't really explain it without explaining like part, because it's so small that the fact that this thing exists is like, I would say, a spoiler. So yeah, it was okay. We'll give it through volume 2 before I decide whether or not I will continue with the series. I'm so dramatic. After Sex Criminals, I finished The Deal by Elle Kennedy. This one I loved oh so much, but I won't be talking about this in this vlog because I talked about it in another vlog, and I will, oh my god, I'm gonna have so much vlog linking for this video, but it is in my week 3 magical readathon vlog. So if you want to know my thoughts about The Deal, I have it there. I gave it 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed the story and the characters. The next book that I read was Fence Volume 1. I gave this one 4 stars, I believe. Yes, I gave this one 4 stars. I really enjoyed the story and I think it's very cute. It was one of those comics that like actually felt like watching a movie or watching a show. So I really did appreciate that. Really brought me into the world. I got very attached to the characters, and then they went ahead and ended it on a cliffhanger. Like, how dare you? Like, wow, so rude. Like, how could you be so rude? Honestly, I can't imagine being that rude of a person. Because you really had me invested in these characters, and then where you decided the cliffhanger was going to be was there? Oh, boo. So I'm upset. I'm not gonna say I'm mad because honestly I'm happy that they gave me something that I love so much, but I am upset because I'm moving, so it doesn't make sense to continue to buy books for this that I will then have to pack, and so I just have to sit on this cliffhanger until I move at the end of next month. How dare they do this to me? Hello guys. It is actually May 1st, so April 30th has been completed. I can't remember what books I left off talking to you guys about. I believe it was... Did I tell you guys about The Deal by El Kennedy? I think I did. If I didn't, I finished The Deal. I gave it 4.5 stars. Really enjoyed it. Talked about it in another vlog. Not gonna go too in depth. Next I had finished what's that child's name? Next I finished Fence. Okay, again, I'm feeling like deja vu, so I feel like I have talked about these, but just in case I didn't, I gave that one 4 stars. Really enjoyed the story. It is about a young man who decides to go to a fencing school. And yeah, he kind of is like the underdog in the story. He hasn't received great training in fencing before, but he wants to make a name for himself. And I really enjoyed this story. It is such a great first volume because I absolutely am like itching to pick up the next one. Unfortunately, I can't do that because I will be moving soon. So I'm just going to have to be patient and wait before I get the second volume. But this was an amazing start to the series. Next, I read Romina by Junji Ito. I did talk about this manga in another video though, so I'm not going to go into depth for that either. I gave this book a 5 stars. In the other video, I said I gave it a 4. I was wrong. I gave it 5 stars. I really, really love the mania that Junji Ito depicted with this story. I thought it was done excellently. And it honestly has become like one of my favorite Junji Ito books because I think it really, like, this is the horror I like the mania of it all. I found very intriguing and very, like, loved it. The final book I ended up reading this month was Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. Again, I talked about this in another vlog that I'm pretty sure is going up before this one, so I'm not going to go in depth about it, but I gave this one 4 stars. Finally, SJM, it is about time, good sis, because I was worried because I wasn't enjoying the series like everybody else, but finally we're in the writing of SJM that I can appreciate. And yeah, gave this one a 4 stars. So in 30 days, I completed 23 books, which is not 30 books, but that is okay. Ultimately, with this video, I wanted to make sure that I was like reading the books that I wanted to read more. So that includes graphic novels, mangas, and the shorter books that I have, because I do have quite an extensive collection of them and I really enjoy reading them, but I felt as though I couldn't get to them because there's always thicker, bigger books and bigger series that I need to get to. And so I just shed that layer and shed that like insecurity or like hang up I had of my own and really just wanted to focus on graphic novels, mangas, poetry, short form stories for this vlog. And I had fun. I'm just so happy that I actually got to read a lot of the stories that I have been wanting to read for such a long time. The whole thing that always comes up with stories is it quantity over quality, quality over quantity? What is going on? So for this month, I was definitely heading towards the quality, for this month, I was definitely heading for the quantity, trying to get that 30 books in 30 days. And I will say the quantity failed me. I had some 1 stars in this vlog. I don't like that. I really do not like reading 1-star books. Not because of like, honestly, not because I'm like, oh, I wasted my time. The 1-star book that I read took me all of 15 minutes to read, so it's like fine. Probably not 15, probably a little bit more. Point is, it wasn't that long in my life, so it's fine. But I don't like not liking something that someone put work into and like put a lot of work and effort into, and is of course like publishing and like releasing something you put work into takes a bit of vulnerability, so I just feel like guilty when I don't like it. So so that kind of really sucks. And then I guess also usually if I'm not liking a book, then I just DNF it. I don't usually sit here and read for a long time if I'm not enjoying a book, but this time I kind of did and kind of had to. Also, I wasn't exactly enjoying like a book like Air Fire. I wasn't exactly enjoying, but I really did need to like get that out of the way. I've always been the quality over quantity type of reader in the first place, so yeah, this challenge really for me was just to get my mangas and graphic novels read, and I did that, and so I'm actually very proud of myself. Of course, I actually do think I would do this challenge again. I think another thing that was holding me back from actually reaching the 30 book challenge was that I am practicing grace at the time and like trying to be kind to myself right now because of like losing my grandmother. And I know that I mentioned that a lot in a lot of these most recent vlogs, but it has impacted me a lot, and so it definitely has impacted my reading. And like if I don't want to do something, I'm just not gonna do it, and I'm going to invest more love into myself in a different aspect or in a different way that actually does feel like self-care and love, and patience and kindness to myself. So yeah, I would say the challenge is cool if you have like a reason for doing it. I think it would be stressful if I was like, I have to get to 30 books in 30 days. I wanted to, and that would have been great. That would have been really nice. But mainly, I just really wanted to read more graphic novels, comic books, mangas, all the things that I love and have let fall on the wayside. And I have done that. And I liked so many of the stories that I read. And it ended up working out really well for me. So did I fail? Yes, but also no, because I'm actually very happy with how April ended for me. And then also I'm excited that this challenge is finally done, and I feel more comfortable reading graphic novels, mangas, and like shorter form stories now. I don't feel guilty about it. I don't know why I was feeling guilty before, but I did get to like kind of like self-reflect on that and like letting pressures I thought other people would place on me impact my reading experience. And I should never do that, because honestly, trying to perceive how others perceive you is a waste of time. So yeah. So yeah, that's where I'm at now. I'm very happy with what I've done, and with no further ado, that is everything for this vlog. So if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed my face, my voice, my actionness, go ahead and press that like button down below and press the subscribe button and bell notification if you'd like to be notified. If you'd like to stay connected with me as I like to stay connected with you, I of course will have my social medias linked down below as well. And if you'd like to support this channel further, I do have my Ko-fi linked down below as well. My Amazon is closed for the month while I move, and I will be opening that up after May. And the question of the day is, how do you feel about the great debate of quantity over quality? Do you feel like you are often trying to push yourself to read more books, or do you push yourself more to read quality books? I would love to hear your perspective and how you all navigate your reading experience. But with no further ado, do believe that is everything, although I am probably forgetting something because I always forget something. But bye guys!